And welcome back to The Zone. I'm Brant Fowler.
I'm John Wilson.
I'm Gordon Damaski.
And I'm Captain Ron Fortier.
And you are now listening to Zone 4. What you are about to hear is highly classified. Pay attention and listen at all times. And most importantly, remember, I am Groot. I'm Batman. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now entering Zone 4. Alright, so welcome back to episode 296 of Zone 4, just 4 episodes away from the big 300.
Yeah, I mean, God, we got so many things planned.
Yeah, right.
It'll be a blockbuster show.
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
We can tell you what we don't have on the show. And sadly, I was going to try to get Kerry Kelly on, and he's actually traveling home the day we're recording. So, yeah, from Egypt.
He'll be hanging out with the pyramids.
Mm-hmm. But it was great having him and Chuck Kennedy back on the show last week. That was fun.
Old home week.
Yeah. So, and we actually recorded 2 episodes last week. I don't know if you guys heard it in the show, but we recorded a bonus episode. It's kind of for mature listeners that will air at a later date. So.
A not safe for anybody episode.
Yeah, it'll post at like after midnight, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly. Zone 4 after midnight. There you go.
That's right.
Or after hours, yeah.
Zone 4, the Cinemax version.
Oh.
I don't think it was quite that bad, but yeah. Well, maybe.
Maybe.
Anyway, so.
Hey, did everybody? Well, I'll let Brent. You got a little plug you got to put in this. Why don't you go ahead and do that, and then we'll get back to rapping about stuff.
Okay, sure. We should mention we are proud members of the Comics Podcast Network. You can find us each and every week on comicspodcasts.com, along with a bunch of other shows. So check us out there.
Yeah. I just wanted to know, you guys all caught up on Flash and Arrow this season?
I am caught up on Flash and Arrow. The only two I'm behind one episode on Gotham and Constantine. But everything else I'm caught up. Yeah.
Caught up on Flash, still not caught up on Arrow.
Yeah, I'm not caught up on Arrow either.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it seems like every one of these shows is upping their game the further we get into the season.
Right.
And this past week has been exceptional. And you know what? As we're talking, I just forgot the Marvel TV show that so deserves a lot of credit for this second season, and that's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah. Oh man. This season is absolutely through the roof. And, we've talked in the past about what they were going to do with Ward.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh, man, he is turning out to be one wicked, great character on that show.
Yeah, man. I mean, especially the way it ended, his part in this latest episode ended.
Yeah, without spoiler warnings. Yeah. But, the epilogue bit is like, oof, okay. I mean, just when you there's something about the guy who plays him. We all want to do what Fitz does, right? Still believe in him.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get that epilogue and...
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I think believing in him is kind of done now.
Yeah, I think so. I love the fact that in the first season, he was my least favorite character because he was so stiff. And it was all for a reason. And I love that they played that out and actually used that.
Yeah. So. And there's been a lot of talk online this past week, if you guys didn't see it, but I'm being a doofus and forgetting the actor's name because I like him so much. But Sky's father,
yes,
Kyle MacLachlan.
There you go, right, is really mugging that role to the nth degree. And a few people are suggesting that he's the character Hyde.
Oh.
From the Marvel's comics, who was like, I'm trying to remember, whose enemy was he? Thor?
I think Daredevil's, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm God.
I'm not sure. I mean, he fought Thor.
Yeah, before. I know he showed up in Spider-Man too, but he wasn't a Spider-Man.
Yeah. Because, he was there when he was part of the team that took over Avengers Mansion and beat the crap out of Jarvis.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Actually, no, Hercules was there. It wasn't Thor. It was Hercules. Because he beats the crap out of Hercules, too. But, yeah, I think in general, he... I'm wanting to say he's a Daredevil guy, but maybe Iron Man. I'm not sure.
Actually, his first appearance was in Journey to Mystery. So.
Oh, was it? Okay, so he's
Thor.
all over the board then.
There you go. Because I can vaguely remember the visuals when he first appeared. He had that big green-brown great cloak, you know, and was obviously a takeoff on Robert Louis Stevenson's character, Mr. Hyde, you know. And yeah, it was a great villain. So intriguing. And again, without giving away spoilers, the end of S.H.I.E.L.D. Also brought up some points about this particular character. And guys, I absolutely love it anytime they integrate scenes from the past with Peggy Carter. So again,
yeah, that was nice.
S.H.I.E.L.D. and you know what? They're really setting it up really great with having this 8-episode Peggy Carter episode, because we're going to get to the end of the year, and they'll go on their mid-season break, and we're going to jump right into Peggy Carter. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've really set that show up. They've, like you said, they've done a really nice job of setting that show up within Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yep.
I really enjoyed it.
So kudos to Marvel and kudos to DC for some awesome television this season.
Yeah, and that's actually a good segue into our headlines.
Segue!
Because the first one is about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So we should just dive right into some comic book headlines.
Comic book headlines.
And they have finally, not on the show, because I heard this news before I watched the latest episode, and I immediately went to watch it before I read the article, and I was like, they didn't say anything about that. But
No.
Right, it's coming up on the December, 3rd episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
But they've finally announced what the alien is on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which we all kind of figured anyway. They just kind of let the cat out of the bag that it is, in fact, a Kree. So...
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a duh moment.
It
Most
is.
of us, it's like, we all knew it was Kree.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think what's much more intriguing is what is that city?
Yeah. It's got to be Adelon, right?
It's got to, I don't know.
It
It could be Adelon, but it would have to be, and Brent and I were talking about this a little bit. My theory is it's going to have to be the Adelon that's either in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean or the one that's in the Himalayas.
Yeah.
Right.
I would think it would be. Go ahead, Gordon.
I was about to say, I've read rumors that that's their way of, Marvel's way of kind of putting now that Inhumans is on the slate, kind of their way of introducing the concept, so...
Right, and I believe, per what John said, of the two choices, I think I've seen that somebody released an image online this past week, just one picture alone, but of Coulson and some of the team in heavy winter gear, parkas and whatever.
That's what
so
I was
it sort of leans towards the Himalayas.
Right.
I mean, it'd be cool, I know Brant is opting for the blue area of the moon, which would be cool, but,
yeah, they're not going to do that.
Don't really have that kind of technology right now, in the Marvel U technically, so.
Yeah, no, I'd be fine with the Himalayas, though.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That makes sense because it's kind of hidden away.
Yeah, it's way isolated.
Right, exactly. So I like that they're doing this. I mean, for our listeners that don't know, of course, I think we've talked about it before, the Inhumans are an offshoot of the Kree race. They were, basically by mixing prehistoric human beings with the Krees that created the Inhuman race. So, very interesting. Very curious to see what they do with it on the show.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool.
We're going to have to wait a week. Everybody's taking a week off next week for Thanksgiving holiday, which is great. Builds up the suspense a little bit,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Staying in the vein of Marvel TV shows, they are narrowing down the actress to play Jessica Jones on the Netflix series, which, as we were talking about before the show, means nothing to Ron. But it might mean something to the rest of us, I think. So the actresses, let me see, I just had them. Oh, yeah, here we go. We got Kristen Ritter, Okay, I'm not a fan of that choice. Alexandra Daddario, I'm on board with that one. Teresa Palmer, I'm not familiar who Teresa Palmer is, and Jessica DeGao, which okay, that's I think I'd still go with Alexandra Daddario though. What about you guys? Any preferences?
I mean, I'm not familiar enough with any of them to really, have an opinion, but
well, Jessica DeGao was the Huntress on Arrow.
Oh, okay. Well, that might work then.
Oh,
my
okay.
thing is,
all right.
yeah,
Yeah, fan of hers, definitely.
My thing is just she's going to have to. I'm worried that they're going to go too close to the pretty, and forget about the fact that she's kind of a little bit hard edged and at least starting out, at least in Alias, a bit kind of downtrodden and tough, and
Well, have you guys seen I Am Number 4?
Yes.
No.
I've heard of it.
Okay,
but...
Teresa Palmer is the blonde girl from I Am Number 4.
Oh, no way.
Okay. I mean, that's the only place where that movie eventually picks up anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We went to see it. I had no clue what it was about. We went to see it, and halfway through it, I'm going, all right, this is it's like a WB movie. It's for young, pretty kids. And she shows up halfway through the film, and from that point on, it just kicked butt.
Yeah. And Kristen Ritter is Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, if anybody's familiar with that. She was
that show lasted like 5 seconds.
Yeah, she was on Breaking Bad as well. So, I don't know.
Well, that's a good pedigree as far as acting chops.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a good actress. She was on Veronica Mars. She's been on a bunch of other shows. And Alexandra Daddario was she was on True Detective in the first season.
Yes.
Yeah, she was Woody Harrelson's what do you want to call it?
Mistress.
Yes, mistress. That's I couldn't think of the word. And she was also in the Percy Jackson films.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
but it's like again, it's like John just said. All of these actresses are absolutely drop dead gorgeous. So it's to play Jessica Jones. Hopefully we have some good stories and good direction because. Right, Jones isn't your typical, big bosomed superheroine any longer. All right, and the whole point of the character is that she's no longer superhuman, and she depends on her wits and her intelligence to get by what she does.
Yeah, and I wonder what route they're going to go with it. If they're going to go like the Jewel superhero route, or if they're going to go the Alias route. Where she's
I really hope the Alias route.
Yeah, I do too.
Because I think when they initially started, they were calling it AKA Jessica Jones, which led me to believe they were going to do, something a little superhero-y.
Yeah.
Or a little too superhero-y. So hopefully they're away from that now. And it's fine if they reference it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't mind seeing, probably nobody else remembers this, but in Birds of Prey, when they would reference Barbara's thing as Batgirl, and like flashbacks and stuff,
right?
It'd be fine if they referenced Jewel like that, but you have to take a big part of that out. You can't have the Avengers,
right? Yeah,
in there,
right.
I don't know if they're going to let them use the Purple Man.
Oh, that would.
So Kilgrave's a big part of her story too. Yeah. So who knows how that's going to work? But I hope they kind of stick a little more Alias-y, if that's a word.
That would be nice. I would love them to take the angle of she's a former superhero because they have established that there have been past heroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
So that would be neat. Speaking of references, real quick, just a little sidetrack. Did you guys notice the St. Walker's reference in Arrow? Well, yeah, obviously Gordon and John did, but did you notice it, Ron?
No, not really.
Oh, okay, St. Walker is a Blue Lantern, and they were talking about Cupid doing a stint at St. Walker's. So it was just a little plug, yeah.
Yeah, they're forever throwing out those kind of things all over the place.
Yeah.
Some I catch, some I don't. But, yeah, that's it, and that's half the fun of the show, for real.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so Image, was somebody going to say something?
No.
Oh, I might have heard my echo. I'm getting a little bit of an echo here and there. Image has got a new series coming out in February called Secret Identities. And this is co-written by Brian Joines and Jay Farber, both of them who worked on Noble Causes. So this looks interesting. It's like a group of heroes that are on the front line. And I don't know, it's another superhero title, but I don't know. For me, it looks interesting. I like the artwork. What do you guys think about this one?
Look, the thing with me is, and don't get me wrong, I am not one of those old curmudgeon guys who's like, superheroes no more, it's passe or whatever. I totally disagree. I think the superhero genre in comics is vibrant, and it all depends on what you do with it. What bothers me with things like this, and I think this is post-Watchmen, if you will, okay, is the fact that they just jump right in the middle of something like this, okay? Welcome to the superhero world, and we have a superhero team. Issue number 1, here are all the superheroes. And one of them's a spy. And I'm like, well, couldn't you just get us invested a little bit more with the team? With who the members are and all this stuff before we get into one's a spy. So I've got to somehow be concerned with the others. I'm not. I don't know who they are. I'm not vested in them.
Okay, I think it's an interesting twist to just come right out and say, oh, one of our characters is a spy, a traitor, whatever. I don't know. I'm kind of curious about that whole.
It would mean a lot more to you, Grant, if you knew who the team was, if you knew who the characters were, if you'd at least, this kind of book could easily have been set up with a very short, like 2 or 3 issue miniseries. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Where you just basically introduce the characters in 1 or 2 issues. All right? Like team so-and-so, and who their superpowers are, what their backgrounds are. I mean, supposedly the guy writing this has got a great reputation as a skilled writer. I'm sure he could have knocked this out with no problems at all. They could have had fun, and it would have laid the groundwork for the main series. And just that prequel alone to give us some background, again, and that's the point I'm saying, would have emotionally invested you in who these characters are. And then you start the miniseries, and one of them is a spy. Ooh, which one? Blah, 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 whatever. But like I said, it's like walking into a train depot, and there's like 50 people waiting for the train, and one of them's a spy, and he's going to take out the others. And I'm like, well, okay, but the others are all strangers to me just like he is. Why do I care?
Well, Go ahead, Gordon. Oh, no, you go ahead.
Okay, well, first, with all due respect to Ron, that whole doing the setup and there's a spy has been done to frickin' death. That is a cliche. And usually what happens is when you figure out who the spy is, it's, oh, well, I'm not surprised. What a totally obvious thing. I think that the main advantage to this series, and we've only seen premiere art, the way the writer could set it up is if he can set up so we care about, a good writer can set up character in 2 or 3 pages, and then boom, revelation. And I think that gives a very different spin on the story.
I agree. Go ahead, John.
Well, I was going to say, I hope that the fact that he went ahead and say, okay, said this guy's the mole already, is going to have some interesting twists to it. Because to me, you've completely left out a major story point there. By telling us who the mole is before the book even comes out, it is cliche, but you are taking away major story points there, where you could build story around finding out who the mole is. Or at least, we as the reader finding out who the mole is. So I'm hoping that this is like a bait and switch that the guy says, oh, this guy's the mole, but he ends up being completely different. He ends up being, the ultimate good guy or whatever.
Well, you know,
If it's not like that, I'm a little disappointed.
well, you know, let me go back and to some degree defend, you know, my position here in what we talked about a little earlier, which was what kind of impact would Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have had if in the very first episode of season 1, halfway through it, Ward reveals himself as a Hydra agent? The impact of Ward revealing himself at midpoint allowed us to know the entire team and to feel for them, and then the least suspected guy to be the agent is revealed, and that was our emotional investment that I was arguing and defending. Coming into a room of strangers that you don't know, and one of them is a spy, so what?
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at it a different way, though. I'm kind of looking at it like, okay, we know up front this guy's a spy. Why is he a spy? What is his motive? I'm curious about why he's the bad guy here. I want to follow his story and see where that leads. And I think it's just a different way to construct a story. I still think it can be engaging. It's just told in a different way that's not your typical mole turning story.
Right, and even with Ward's story, it hits very familiar story beats. Oh, he has a rough childhood. Oh, he falls under the influence of an evil mentor. So even though his character has taken on development, those first 6 weeks, he was basically white bread. I mean, I was hoping that up until last week, someone would just shoot the guy in the head. Because I hate the character.
True. Yeah. So, I don't know. We're split down the middle here, which is really interesting. But it's, you know, either way, it's got us talking about it. So.
Well, yeah, and hopefully maybe Dynamite will provide us with a preview issue number 1, and we can, you know, follow this discussion up.
Yeah, yep. or Image, but yeah, they will. I'm sure they will.
Okay. Oh, if Dynamite does, that'd be nice too. But that's
hey.
Yeah. If Dynamite takes the idea and does it better.
Speaking of new titles, Marvel jumping on this Guardians of the Galaxy bandwagon have announced another new title, Guardians Team Up #1, which also comes out in February, I believe. And this is written by Brian Michael Bendis, who is currently writing Guardians of the Galaxy, and art by Art Adams. So,
you know, I put this on my pull list immediately because Art Adams is drawing it.
Okay.
I don't care if there's any words at all in it.
Just Art Adams art all over the place.
Art Adams. I don't remember the last thing he did on a regular basis, and I absolutely love this artist. So the 1 or 2 images we saw at the press release already convinced me. Like I said, I'm getting this because of Art Adams. This guy is super talented.
Yeah, he is. And you know, I think it is interesting. You know, they're basically teaming up Guardians of the Galaxy with different heroes throughout the Marvel universe. But I'm wondering.
It's Marvel Team Up.
Yeah, it is Marvel Team Up with the Cosmic Team. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm afraid that not only Rocket Raccoon, but all the Guardians of the Galaxy are going to get oversaturated really fast. I'm scared for that because of the success of the movie. So.
Well, I would like it better if they didn't do the whole team plus 1 every time.
Yeah.
I would like it a lot better if it was like Gamora and the Hulk.
Yeah, well,
you know, two green people hanging out together.
Yeah, they even mentioned kind of like Rocket Raccoon meets Deadpool or something like that.
Well, you know, that's...
Of course.
Oh, that would be a short comic. It'd be...
Yeah, exactly.
I'm Deadpool. Blam.
Now you're dead.
It could be fun, though, so we'll have to see. And speaking of... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but there is a definite possibility of, they're going to milk this Guardian thing until it dies.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about that. Especially Rocket Raccoon. I mean, he's already in danger of becoming the next Deadpool.
Yeah, so. I mean, you know, whoever thought a pseudo Howard the Duck would become like the big character of the century.
Right. And, you know, if you are a fan of the big blockbuster movie Guardians of the Galaxy, they've done a video on how it should have ended. I don't know if you guys regularly watch those kind of things. I know John's seen a lot of them.
They're cute. Yeah, they're very funny. Usually.
They're cute. But they did one on Guardians of the Galaxy, which had several alternate endings. John, you had some thoughts about those?
Well, you know, I mean, it was funny and ridiculous, of course. But there were a couple of things that I was thinking, you know, this is a bit possible. One, and granted, I don't know much about the character beyond what I saw in the movie and what little bit I've read in the comics. But you would think with the explosion of Groot, that some of the shards of Groot would have landed straight up and down in the very fertile Xander soil. So,
that's possible.
And, you know, as a little joke on the thing, you had John C. Reilly's character come out and who planted this field of Groots?
Yeah.
Because you had a bunch of dancing Groots there. Is that not possible that there may be multiple Groots on Xandar right now?
That would be very interesting.
I mean, will his consciousness only go into one shard of him, or is his consciousness alive in his entire being?
I mean, he is plant-based, and usually seeds spread, so...
You know, and obviously Xandar is very fertile. I mean, the place was... You know, it had flowers and everything everywhere, so you would think there could be a possibility of that. The other thing I was thinking is, it kind of made a lot of sense that why didn't Ronan grab them all when they were doing their little group, we're burning up together thing? Why didn't Ronan just latch on and go, hey, I'm part of this. You know, I'll live through this too.
Oh, shoot.
But yeah, other than that, it was kind of silly. But
yeah, it was fun though. My favorite part had to be, I am Groot. I'm Batman.
Oh yeah,
I'm Groot. I'm Batman.
I'm Groot. I'm Batman. This could go on for a while.
Yeah.
I'm Groot. I'm Batman.
Well, my favorite of them all was the one that could have been a Charmin commercial.
Explain, please.
Yeah, please.
When he says, you want me to give a crap? All right.
Oh, okay. He does take things literally.
Yes.
See what I meant by a Charmin commercial?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh.
All right.
Wild and crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, but it was very funny, and it's amazing how it always ends up in that same cafe.
Yeah, I know.
In a Batman.
Oh.
But speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, the lead star who played Star-Lord, Chris Pratt, is playing another comic book lead in Cowboy Ninja Viking, which was a series published by Image Comics a few years ago. And this is... I never read this comic, but from what I gather from this, it's basically... There are a bunch of agents with this multiple personality disorder called triplets, and they've all been turned into assassins, and his character, Chris Pratt's character, is the Cowboy Ninja Viking who has to stop them all. That was the name of the title, Cowboy Ninja Viking.
Yeah, I always thought it needed more names. You know, like pirate, sous chef, parking lot attendant.
So, did anybody read this series, Cowboy Ninja Viking?
I did not.
No. I was familiar with it, but the name just stopped me cold. Okay.
I know our friend Eric Radcliffe read it. But he was.
Oh yeah.
Why am I not surprised?
Because he loves cowboys, ninjas, and Vikings.
So, it sounds like a perfect role for Chris Pratt, though.
Well, yeah.
If anybody can pull it off. Oh, and the last news story I have, unless anybody has anything to add about Cowboy Ninja Viking.
Not a thing.
Gordon?
I think someone should publish the Cowboy Ninja Viking cookbook.
Oh,
that's all I got to say.
All right. Kind of
Being
a little
fjord.
Yeah. Kind of little Tex Asian Norse mix there.
Yeah, little fusion there.
Yeah, a little fusion, yeah. Last news item I have is a Dynamite. Speaking of them, Dynamite Entertainment buys the Atlas Comics trademark from Jeffrey Stevens, and that's interesting. They've been, didn't they recently buy something else up?
Yeah, they gobbled up someone else.
Yeah, they got the Gold Key stuff. They got the license to that.
Yeah,
that's probably the most recent thing. But
yeah, and in case anybody's at all interested, or as to the Atlas titles from from 1970s, the short-lived run.
Right.
If you'll allow me a second.
Sure.
Barbarians, featuring Ironjaw. Blazing Battle Tales, featuring Sergeant Rock, 1 issue. The Brute, 3 issues. The Cougar, 2 issues. Demon Hunter, 1 issue. Destructor, 4 issues. Fright, featuring Son of Dracula, 1 issue. Grim Ghost, 3 issues. Hands of the Dragon, 1 issue. Iron Jaw had 4 issues. Morlock 2001, 3 issues. Phoenix, 4 issues. Planet of the Vampires, 3 issues. Police Action, featuring Lomax and Luke Malone, 3 issues. Savage Combat Tales, featuring Sergeant Stryker's Death Squad, 3 issues. Scorpion, 3 issues. Tales of Evil, 3 issues. They had the Bog Beast and Man Monster. Target, 3 issues. Tiger Man, 3 issues. Vicky, 4 issues. Better known as Tippy Teen. Weird Suspense featuring Tarantula, 3 issues. Western Action featuring Kid Cody and Comanche Kid, 1 issue. And Wolf, W-U-L-F, the Barbarian, 4 issues. 22 titles. So that's what Dynamite has acquired, kiddies.
Oh, boy.
Way to go, there, Martin Goodman.
Any of you creators chomping to work on these titles, give them a call.
My only concern with this is I thought Marvel still kind of owned the Atlas thing.
According to this,
when Marvel went belly up and bankrupt, Martin Goodman.
Yeah, I remember. But
Martin Goodman basically left and took that title with him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
All right, so he was able to. He's the one who got the 1970s version going because he still had a rights to the title itself, Atlas Comics.
Yeah. Then in 2002, Jeffrey Stevens registered the trademark and had it accepted.
Okay.
Marvel tried to buy it back and failed.
Yep.
So no connection to the agents of Atlas at all.
Right.
No, none at all.
So that's interesting. I don't know what they're going to do with it. Yeah.
Well, at least now I can dust off my Man Monster proposal and send it to Dynamite.
I like the Bog Beast myself.
Yeah, Bog Beast sounds. Oh, there you go.
The Bog Beast, what bogs at midnight?
Well, see, in my proposal, Bog Beast is the villain.
Of course.
Okay. There you go.
Because the
he bogs.
The hero has he bogs, and the hero has a really clean floor, and Bog Beast comes and messes that up. So there you go. There's the proposal.
Dan is
in the fight
smattering of some of the better known comic creators involved with this. Mm-hmm. Steve Ditko and Wally Wood actually worked on a couple titles, and so did Howie Chaykin. So again, I remember the books vaguely, but like I said, I don't think they were around. They were around more than a year.
Yeah. I think that was the time that work was work, and you took what you could get.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
So there you go. Hopefully, Dynamite does something with them, though. I mean, they have a tendency to get old franchises and try to reboot them. That's pretty much their entire model.
Yeah. Exactly.
And some are good, some not so great. But,
well, I mean, obviously, economically, some of the things that they've licensed from.
Hello.
Oh, it's Focus time. All right.
Sorry, excuse me for a minute.
Sure.
Oh, okay. John gives me a hard time about coughing and sniffling, and he forgets to turn his darn cell phone off. Shame on you, Wilson. Shame on you.
But what I was saying, guys, was that Dynamite's licensed a lot of properties in the last few years that are expensive, and they paid a pretty penny to have those properties. Okay, I think this is a move on their part to buy a name that they own, and now can start, again, creating or building off of this their own versions, their own comic titles or whatever, and not have that licensing fee hanging over their heads, thus increasing their profit margin.
Yeah. Good
well,
point.
I'm so incredibly unpopular that I'm real surprised that my phone even rang. So.
All right, so that is a nice segue into our topic this week.
Segue!
So it's topic time.
Topic time! Yahoo!
Topic time!
It's topic time.
And
I am Groot.
Yeah, I'm Batman.
I am Groot.
I'm Batman.
Groot needs a lozenge.
All right, so for topic time this week, we are talking about 2 brand new #1 issues, both from Dynamite Entertainment. One of these came out on November 5th, and one of them came out on November 12th. And let's see, what do you guys want to start with? You want to start with Lone Ranger or John Carter?
That doesn't matter.
All right,
Pick one, Grant.
All right, let's go with Lone Ranger.
Yeah,
Right.
I was about to say I have Lone Ranger up, so let's go
Okay,
with that.
let's do that. Lone Ranger Vindicated #1. I believe this is a 4-issue miniseries. I think it's a miniseries. I'm not sure. Anyway, so John, what'd you think of Lone Ranger?
Lone Ranger, actually, I really liked. Overall, it seemed like a, fairly typical Lone Ranger adventure to me. I mean, it wasn't surprising or shocking in any way. It was just a really cool, Lone Ranger adventure. I do like that they avoided the, Jay Silvercloud way of speaking for Tonto. I do much prefer him speaking as a, relatively normal person. A lot of, and actually I have a question about this, Ron, and you might be able to answer this for me. Has Lone Ranger always had, this thing against killing? I mean, I know in the TV series, obviously.
Right, but no.
That's what I grew up with.
Even from the radio days when he was first created, John, even going back to the original radio melodramas, he made a note not to take life.
Okay.
So he's basically Batman. Okay.
He's basically Batman, yeah. That struck me as kind of a thing that the Mexican bandito knew that he would not kill.
Yeah.
Right.
Away. Which would seem to probably be a detriment in the Old West, because...
John?
Hello?
Hello?
What happened to John?
I don't know.
You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we just lost John.
In the middle of the Lone Ranger.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna have a lot of editing on this one.
Yeah. He probably turned off mute and is looking at the cover and going brum 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 bum bum brum 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 bum bum.
Oh, you calling him back up?
It says it's trying to get it back. It says there's a problem with this call. It won't let me. He's still trying to reconnect, I think. So.
Yeah, when I call up the Skype panel, there's a little animation over his icon.
Yeah. Let's see. Now it stopped. Let me see if I can add him back.
And right now he's probably talking and going, guys,
Yeah.
guys, what? Wait, did you all cancel the call? And now John's gone off my thing.
Yeah, yes, he's definitely gone.
He just dropped.
He's probably disconnected.
Yeah.
On purpose.
All right. So.
He's probably like, I like that Lone Ranger, but that John Carter book really sucked. Brum, 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 bum, bum, brum, 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 bum, bum.
Return with us now to those.
I'm trying to add him back and nothing's happening.
Well, I'm getting something because I see his icon with a little animation.
Yeah, that's Brant's attempt to get him back on
But I mean,
conversation.
I'm chatting with him and he's saying add me back and I'm telling him I'm trying, but apparently he's not seeing this, so I don't know.
And
there you are. Okay, good.
As I was saying, good but not great.
Good but not great on what?
Lone Ranger.
Okay.
Yeah, he just finished his thought.
I was just making sure.
That's where he left off. Way to go, John!
All right, I was just making sure.
Yay!
No, like I said, I like the creative. I don't know if it got through. I like the creative ways that he got around killing.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought it was a good, serviceable comic, but it wasn't shocking or mind-bending or anything like that.
Yeah, I think I feel the same way. It was a solid Lone Ranger story, and it was leaps and bounds above the movie. We won't even discuss that.
Well,
but No, but no, I enjoyed it because I grew up watching old reruns of Lone Ranger as well, and I was a big fan. Had the toy, had the little action figures and everything. So this felt like the Lone Ranger to me, and everything you said, the way that he already knew that he wouldn't kill and all that stuff, and what kind of problems that caused was really interesting to see them work that out. And I don't know, it was just a nice, solid, fun story. What did you think, Gordon?
I liked it a lot. I mean, I tend to be a big Lone Ranger fan, so like for me, it's kind of a given. I like the fact that Dynamite has done a really good job of making the Lone Ranger kind of grim and gritty, and give the Old West a texture that doesn't make the Lone Ranger kind of a grim and gritty character.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I mean, there were a couple of moments that kind of didn't ring quite true. The one was kind of there's a female character who's introduced, and the Lone Ranger's kind of awkward, and it seemed like it. Not that the Lone Ranger wouldn't behave in that way, but it seemed a little too sitcom-ish. And later on, they're sitting around a dinner table, and the girl's told, even though you're 16, you shouldn't be. And I forget the exact context, but I thought, should you have a 16-year-old girl hit on the Lone Ranger? But that may just be a misreading on my part. I like the story, I like the art, and I thought it was a pretty good comic.
I think with the 16-year-old girl, it was basically just
she couldn't stop staring.
Yeah, it was kind of a crush kind of thing, like you would typically like a teacher-student crush kind of thing. I think it was an innocent little thing that they were doing.
Okay, yeah, I mean, like I said, I probably misread that.
Yeah.
And the mama was saying, we know how to treat guests in this house.
Yeah.
And the boy kept screwing around with Tonto's hair.
Right. But the other lady, I get your point there. I think the thing is, most women in that era probably would be less inclined to be more, I don't know, they'd be more ladylike.
Mm-hmm.
And where she was more on his level, and it kind of took him by surprise. That's how I read it, but I do get your point totally about that being a little bit up.
And speaking of Tonto, what I really loved is that Tonto was used less as the sidekick and more almost like the Watson who knows stuff about Indians.
Yeah.
That's what I really liked about that.
Yeah, I agree with
He was an equal. And, I think with the woman, and I've already... Fiona Doyle. She said she's educated and all that. But, you've got her out there in a sleeveless shirt and jeans and boots and a hat. But no explanation of why she's dressed in that particular way. The curse of education, maybe, but... but other than that, and then she's not referenced in the story anymore, so...
I'm sure she'll pop back up. But
I'm sure she'll pop back up, but it's all a little odd, and then, the whole thing with, why's your hat on backwards? And the Lone Ranger actually says, damn it.
Yeah. All right, so Ron, I'm curious what you thought about it.
Well, you guys are all circling around, certain elements of the story, which I think you have to step back and look at the history of the character, and especially Dynamite's version of him, okay? Like Gordon, and I'm a huge Lone Ranger fan, have been since I was a little kid. My first exposure to the Lone Ranger was the black and white television series with Clayton Moore. Now keep in mind, guys, when Clayton Moore played him on that TV show, he was well into his 30s. So you immediately got, even as a little boy, watching this, that this was a full-blown adult. When you listen, if you have the opportunity to hear the classic Lone Ranger radio programs, that still comes across that this is an adult male, all right? Whereas when Dynamite started their series a few years ago, and I have every single one, I've been a fan right from the start. They gave us a younger Lone Ranger, way younger, okay? So that as he appears in the comics, he's basically in his early 20s. If he's even 24, I'll be surprised. So that being the case, even in the 2 years they've been doing him, his relationship with women has always been awkward. And that's been consistent. They haven't changed that. I mean, he was dealing with his sister-in-law. His older brother Dan had died, and there were some romantic elements in the last year's worth of the Lone Ranger. That whole comic bit with him and this Fiona is perfect for a guy in his 20s who's had very little contact with the opposite sex, dating or romance. He's virtually an innocent in the woods as far as romance is concerned, which is why I absolutely love the gag and putting his. He's bamboozled. He doesn't know how to act with girls his own age.
Yeah.
So being the confident, hero of justice, law, and order is one aspect of his personality and character, and they stay true to that. But guys, he's a guy in his early 20s who doesn't have that kind of womanly savoir-faire. He's definitely not James Bond. That being said, I like the book a lot. I like the story a great deal. They played, again, true to the mythos and the tradition. I absolutely love their take on Tonto in this version, because Tonto's always his partner. Nothing ever. They're total equals. I think it's off to a good start. I'll be anxious to read the second issue.
Yeah. So we're pretty much all agreed then.
Yay, Isle of Silver!
Yay!
The Ranger got hornswoggles.
Hey, I even love that little bit that the writer threw in when an earlier episode in the story where he's riding off with Tonto, and the little girl looks at the mother and goes, "Who was that masked
Yes.
man?" It was like right out of the TV
I
show.
love
It was
that part.
really nice.
That was nice. All right, so the next book we're talking about is John Carter, Warlord of Mars, #1, which we talked about this when they announced it, I think during San Diego, about this particular issue. Ron Mars is writing, and we were all curious about it. So let's talk about this issue. Gordon, why don't you start with this one?
Well, I have to say that I'm relatively new to the whole John Carter thing. In fact, it's only been recently that I read the first book, Princess of Mars, and right now I'm reading The Gods of Mars. And I think this book takes place in the movie continuity.
It seems like it.
Yeah, right.
And it's basically kind of it's like it basically set up Deja Thoris as a prisoner. She's being interrogated by somebody, and it's basically an info dump. This is kind of the situation, and it basically suggests that Mars has been invaded, and we learn that the person who is interrogating her has a connection to John Carter. And I liked it for what it was, which is, here's a John Carter 101 for those of you who haven't seen the movie or read the books or whatever. It sets up the world, it sets up the premise. I mean, I liked it. The only problem that I had, I placed this squarely on the artist. Because the artist, when he draws the character, in that situation, if you want someone hidden, you try to make them as featureless as possible. But by page 3, there's the way he's drawn, it's like a big reveal, and then it's like, oh, okay, I was right, last page, I got it. I didn't exactly know who, but I kind of knew, oh, that's the direction that they're heading in.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's an okay book. Would I pick up issue 2? Probably, but I don't know. But I think there's enough there to warrant further exploration. But I would just say it's a good read rather than a great one.
Yeah. John and I were actually talking about this while you guys were away. He had the same thought about it.
Exactly. Yeah, they telegraphed it. I mean, it was so obvious I don't want to spoil it, but it was so obvious what he was.
Yeah. His station or whatever.
Yeah. Now, honestly, the name means nothing to me.
Have you seen the movie?
I was actually expecting. I have not.
Okay.
That's why the name probably means nothing to me. But yeah, they completely telegraphed it with the hat and the sword right away.
Mm-hmm.
I knew exactly what station that character held.
Yeah.
And, I'm a little sad for that because they kept it unrevealed to the last page, but, I knew page 3, so
right.
That was kind of sad. Now, in the movie, I have a question. In the movie continuity, does Mars make him a Superman?
Yes.
Yeah, his bones are less dense there, so he's
Okay.
able to jump and he's stronger. And
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't know that much about John Carter either. I'm really much more of a Tarzan person. And that doesn't seem right. It seems like he'd be a much better character if he was just a guy who's doing, what he can do, and he's just a hero, not a Superman.
Well, I mean,
that kind of takes away from it.
Right, but you know what, John? I would honestly, recommend, if you ever have the opportunity, to pick up Burroughs' actual novel.
Okay, it's like that in the novels too?
Yeah, well, I mean, he is that in the novels, and the
okay.
point, and this free, this is before Superman, comic book superheroes, and all that.
Yeah.
So read the actual novel itself, and I mean, it's Burroughs' is unchained imagination.
Right.
And it stays consistent and true throughout the entire John Carter series, and it has more to do, like we said, with the differences between gravity on Mars and gravity on Earth, and that's what he was extrapolating. Not so much wanting to make him a superhero.
Yeah, he doesn't have powers per se. He can leap because the gravity's different, and because of that same thing with bone density and everything. It makes him stronger.
Try to imagine, Conan on Mars. Okay,
right.
He's just one tough SOB.
Yeah.
And there is a sequence in the film, and again, I recommend reading the book definitely,
right.
Princess of Mars, and B, get caught up to watch after. But please read the book first, John, and then watch the film, because it is easily one of the best adaptions of a classic fantasy adventure ever filmed. That's how much I love this movie, because I grew up being a fan of the series.
Yeah.
And there is a sequence in the movie, and I know Gordon and Brant will remember, where he literally dives into an oncoming army, all right, and single-handedly destroys them with his swords.
Okay.
It is brutal, it is savage, but it all makes sense within the context of who he is, what he's about, etc., etc. Yeah.
Okay, that makes a little more sense, because, being a Tarzan person, Tarzan isn't really anything more than a man who grew up in the jungle. So I just assumed John Carter would kind of be the same and just be kind of a ultra human hero, but not, be physically superior to the thing on, the people on Mars. So that makes a lot more sense, I suppose. My only other, one complaint I told Brant, one I just realized. One, oh my God, get over the bug that makes you tell the truth. Star Trek has killed it already. They've done it twice. Now this is doing it. I'm sure it's been used in other places. Leave the blasted bug alone. and the other thing, and I guess this is a J. Scott Campbell cover. Bondage and pushing the boobies together much. I mean, not even close to what's happening in the story at all. Just kind of a boobyish pinup. Why do we need that, honestly? And not only once but twice. No variant cover. It's the same cover twice.
It's Dynamite.
Yeah, that's what we get for review copies, people.
Yeah, I suppose, but not got nothing against the sword and sorcery nearly uncovered boob thing. It just excessive. She's at no point really chained to the floor or anything. She's chained, obviously, but she's not chained where she can't get up or anything like that, obviously, because she kicks the dude in the face at one point.
Yeah, true.
So there's that, and I do agree with Gordon. Yeah, this was kind of a big info dump episode. This is definitely the classic first issue where you set up everything.
Yeah.
And then we get moving from here.
And I think that was the main reason for that book, just to be able to introduce that info dump. The movie was actually my introduction to John Carter, and I loved the movie. I watched it like 5 times. And this was, this played right into that. I agree with the criticisms you guys have pretty much wholeheartedly, but I really enjoyed the book. I love Ron Mars's writing anyway, so I knew I was going into a book with writing that I was going to be a fan of. But I agree the telegraphing with the interrogator was obvious, and again, that's a problem with the artist, so that bothered me. But I appreciate who it was, because that makes the story very interesting for me, having seen the movie and everything. It's just I'm really curious about the series. I will definitely read the next issue, but go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, I mean, let me jump in. I mean, again, they telegraphed the identity, but that really didn't bother me personally, and because I knew going in what this book was going to be all about as a setup. All right, so again, I like Mars's writing, and I appreciated all that. And when I realized who the character in the shadows were, I wasn't so much disappointed as, and I think what you're alluding to now, Brant, is that realization that, oh my God, that's never been done in the novels. All right, that's somebody else from Earth.
Right.
What basically, I mean, this is going to be his opposite number.
Yeah.
Because whatever John Carter can do on Mars, so can this character.
Exactly.
All right. Now that really sets up, what's going to happen next. That's a real different twist on the series that excites me. And in regards to the art, guys, quite honestly, looking at some of those pages, one of my all-time favorite artists from the 1960s, who did a lot of the Burroughs comics for DC, including Tarzan and a few others, was Gil Kane. And a lot of this artwork, especially the collages, with all the aliens and all this good stuff, and Carter leaping at you and stuff like that, so was influenced by a Gil Kane's type of artwork that harkens even back to Steve Ditko's Gyrations, what he used to do with figures. So I was very taken with the art. The coloring at Dynamite's always gorgeous anyways. So personally myself, I like this first issue a great deal for what it is, but I'm going to be real anxious to see where the story goes.
Right. And I agree. The art, for the most part, is fantastic.
Oh, no, beautiful.
Yeah, it was that telegraphing thing. But, I get your point with that, Ron, as well. And it really intrigues me, that we have another human on Mars now. So, yeah. And plus they have that history anyway, so it's going to be very interesting. So pretty much high marks for these two #1 issues from Dynamite.
Way to go, Dynamite!
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, now we'll wait for Bog Beast.
Yeah, no doubt.
Bog Beast. Anyway.
Don't scare for Bog Beast, please.
Yeah. So, that's going to wrap up our show, though. So all we have left to do is go around the table and see what everybody has coming up, coming out, and going on. Gordon, what you got?
Okay, well, next week is Chicago TARDIS, the largest Doctor Who convention in the Midwest and the second largest Who convention in the country. I will be running the charity auction for Chicago TARDIS. It's November 28th through the 30th at the Westin Lombard. And I have some stories coming out in the next few months, and I'll let you guys know closer to release date.
Cool. Awesome. Ron, how about you?
Okay. Very happy to announce that this past week, Airship 27 released its 24th title of the year, a new Sinbad anthology, and our amigo here, Gordon, was the associate editor on that volume. It features 4 brand new Sinbad stories by Ian Watson, Joe Bonadano, Jeff Fornia, and Ralph Angelo. The series is doing so well. The mere fact that we've actually gotten 2 volumes out this year pretty much argues that fans like the Sinbad. We do the Sinbad stories, guys, in the old Ray Harryhausen style that he used to do the stop motion animation stuff.
Nice.
And the interior illustrations are by a young artist named Phil Cho that I'm predicting right now is going to be a big name in the graphic world. And our cover is by Pat Cabariel, who's done several other covers for us in the past. They're absolutely gorgeous. The book's available now at Amazon, both in hardcover and on Kindle. And again, thank you, Gordon, for a great job. Would really appreciate that as ever. On the comic front, I am still pounding away at Black Bat and Domino Lady comic adventures from Moonstone that hopefully we'll be seeing at the start of next year. And I want to take the opportunity to thank Brant here, because Brant's lettering the first 2-issue arc, and I've just seen some of the stuff that he's turned in, and it's absolutely awesome. Great job, Brant. As I always say, you put the story together, you put the art together, but when the letterer comes and does his thing, then it becomes a comic book. So it was really exciting to see those pages all lettered up, and that's what I got going.
Awesome, and thank you. And John, what do you got?
Let's see. I'm having to put a lot of my own writing aside right now because I agreed to do a gothic romance title for Dave Earhart. It took me a while to get a hook on it, but I finally did, and now I am very deep in writing that. Most importantly for me right now is, as soon as we get done here, I am off to go start the load-in for the Cavalcade of Comics, the convention that will be happening this weekend, Saturday, at the Ramada Convention Center, as part of the Derby City Comic Con family with our own Chuck Moore, obviously. So definitely, if you're in the local area, come check that out. It's only $5 admission. And we are touting it as Geek Black Friday.
There you go. Nice.
All right.
Awesome.
And that's about it for me.
All right. For me, Jackhammer, the trade paperback, collecting the first arc of the story by Brandon Barrows, lettered by yours truly, is available for pre-order. It comes out in January. Right now, you can get it off of Midtown Comics for 30% off. So go check that out. It's a really good deal. Also, Chris Charlton from Assailant Comics had 4 books, I think it was 4, nominated for Space Prizes this year, awesome. And all lettered by yours truly as well, so I'm very excited about that. Let's see, what else? Singularity Rise of the Posthumans, out in Christmas time, so it's very soon that'll be out, and I'll be a officially published author, so I'm very excited about that. And let's see. My novel for NaNoWriMo is going very, very slow. As I posted on Facebook yesterday, they give you a little tally showing you how many words you need to do a day to finish, and how many, how long it's going to take you at your current rate. And my current rate said I will be done with my novel on December 16th. 2023. So we'll see what happens. But no, it's an interesting story. If I can ever get it down, it's kind of inspired by my brother. He had a skateboarding accident when he was like 14, and it's inspired from that. So it's very dear to my heart. So hopefully I'll eventually finish it, and people can check it out. But that's about it for now for me. So Zone 4 wise, the 300th episode is coming up in just 4 short weeks now, and we still have no clue what we're doing. We're thinking about maybe live audio, maybe we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And
you see how well the 4 of us do alone.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. We're open to suggestions. We'd love to hear your feedback. But it's going to be a big one because we're taking a 2-week break after that, and kind of reevaluating things from there. So you definitely want to check it out because it'll be the last time you hear us until 2015. So
there you go.
Awesome. So that's it. So Ron, take us out of here.
Got it. We'd like to thank the official bands of Zone 4, the Ray Wall Band and Society's Play that you hear on the show each and every week. We are also proud members of the Comic Related Podcast Network. You can find us each week on Comic Related, Comic Frontline, Comics Podcast, iTunes, and Stitcher. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions for us, or loose change you'd like to get rid of, send those to Zone4 at comicrelated.com. And as always, thanks for listening. And hey, happy Thanksgiving. You are now leaving Zone 4.
Save some turkey for me.
Yay.
Go, Fantastic Four! Go, Fantastic Four! Live on! Go, Fantastic Four! It's clobber time!
Segway! I am Groot.
I still want a Rocket Raccoon action figure for Christmas.
Oh, actually, of all places, I found one that's, he's like full-size action figure tall, with a big old gun in a Walgreens.
Yeah, they do carry a lot of stuff at a Walgreens.
Wow.
Yeah, he's not, he's not rocket size.
Right.
He's practically, regular size action figure tall.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't, they also had Star-Lord, but I didn't put the two of them next to each other to see if, Star-Lord was bigger or not. I just bought the rocket one. Because I have, like, a small collection of, Groots going.
Yeah. I want the dancing baby Groot.
Yeah, oh yeah, I definitely want it when it comes out. But I got the, like, little action figure one, and then I got the Funko big head one in our loot crate.
Yeah.
And then somebody at one of the cons I was at made one out of paper.
Ooh.
So a dancing Groot out of paper.
Oh,
Wow.
So I've got that, and then actually a female cosplayer made dancing Groot out of like sculpty clay and painted it.
Cool.
And put it in this tiny little pot with Easter grass. And I picked up that one too. So I've got like 4 little Groots lined up here in front of my Zatanas
Cool.
and stuff.
Yeah,
And
who would
actually,
have thought?
Rocket's not anywhere near them.
Yeah, who would have thought that a talking tree that only said 3 words would be the breakout character of 2014?
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, good.
Yeah, Treebeard never got that.
Yeah, that's right. What's up?
He talked too much. That was his problem.
He did. He takes a long time.
He took a long time to speak. That's why we had to have 3 movies.
That's right. Because anything worse, no, I'm not going to go into it. All right,
Nope.
so.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production. Bonk!